We're going to move on to Taurus. Now, I love Taurians. Actually, Taurus is my moon sign, so I feel like I can speak pretty well on this. In fact, as a Taurus, I feel like I can speak pretty well on anything because we can be some arrogant POSs. Taurus is a very stubborn sign. It is fixed Earth, so fixed meaning, stationary, unmovable, right? And then earth signs, which are already known for being stationary and unmovable. You can only imagine that Taurus is probably the most stubborn sign on the whole list. It definitely is, I can assure you. I'm so stubborn about this that I'll just continue talking, I guess. Taurus is a very interesting and weird sign. It's one of the only signs I've ever known that's ruled by 3 planets. It's actually the only planet, or it's the only zodiac sign I know that's ruled by 3 planets, being Venus, mainly, and Earth, as well as it has an exaltation with the moon. So these 3 planets actually govern the sign of Taurus. Taurus represents the aspect of Earth itself. And in the sky, when we're looking for Taurus specifically, we're looking for Orion, which are the 3 dots. You can find Orion's belt pretty easily when you're looking in the sky, especially if you're in the Western world or the Northern Hemisphere. If you're looking during the winter time, you'll be able to find Taurus very, very easily in the sky. You just have to basically look to the right, and you'll see this big V shape with a whole bunch of bright, shiny stars. Very, very pretty. Really cool. Taurus is a very stubborn sign. It is considered one of the godliest or holiest signs. It is also considered one of the most evil signs. Everything has to have a balance of some sort. So you will find Taurians are very interesting people, to say the least. The aspect of Taurus rules the throat and the shoulder area. So Taurians are pretty loud speakers. They can be loud. They can, especially for the males, they can have very deep voices. For the females, they're very beautiful. They're often very, very earthly, very feminine in nature. For the men, they're actually pretty big. I've seen a lot of Taurians which are quite stocky. But Taurians are known for being determined. They have high willpower. They can even be known for being wealthy, very good with money. As an earth sign, they manifest wealth very easily. They're actually the sign that's associated with wealth more than any other sign in the zodiac. They can also be known as being very lazy, stubborn, and subtly manipulative. And I know from my own personal experience, a lot of Taurians can be that subtly manipulative. Now, they have sodium sulfate as their cell salt, and there are other animals. There are no other animals that are really associated with Taurus. It's mainly just Taurus or men. Specifically, the constellations of Orion and Perseus fall around the realm of Taurus in the sky. But there are other things that I want to placate and make precedence on for Taurus as well, being the Pleiades and the star Algol. The Pleiades, to start with, is in the shoulder of the bull. It's probably the best aspect that is within Taurus, is known as the Seven Sisters. It's about 6 stars. If you've ever seen the car company Subaru, Subaru in Japanese actually is what the Japanese refer to as the constellation or the cluster of the Pleiades. So they named that completely after the Pleiades. Additionally, Taurus, as in Toyota. Toyota actually uses the Taurus symbol with their car logo. Again, the Japanese know what they're doing. They really love Zodiac, and obviously it has done them well because they make a lot of car sales. However, as I'll continue with this, the Pleiades is known as the Seven Sisters, which was a very heavenly aspect of the sky. It was actually regarded as one of the most important clusters in the entire sky to a lot of the ancient astronomers. It's just an overall very pretty part of Taurus. Next, though, we have Algol, which is the eye of the bull. Algol is considered the most evil star in the entire sky. The eye of the bull does not escape anybody. It is considered like the very negative, fearful, lower, scary aspect of God. Like, hey, I'm going to fucking kill you because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Algol is nothing to screw with. It is a very scary kind of star. Whenever it comes over, whether the moon or the sun or whatever passes it, you'll often find very interesting things happen on those days. So that's just one of my little things for you. There's also a lot of other things like cannabis actually is very much so associated with Taurians. I have known a lot of Taurus people who love to smoke marijuana or cannabis. So that's funny as well. The one thing I will say about Taurus is, even in the Chinese zodiac, they don't take away from the bull. Everybody recognizes that the bull is the animal that rules Taurus. I don't think I've ever found a zodiacal interpretation where the bull wasn't really associated with Taurus. I think there are a few others, like maybe a Mesoamerican one, like a jaguar or something. I can't really recall that right now. But the bull is generally Taurus, right? And when we look at other Taurians, we're really looking for a lot of inflection in the face. We have these big eyes, especially in the females. They'll have these big brown cow eyes, these big moo eyes. They have very pretty structure in their face. I know that this is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson because I used to watch wrestling when I was a kid. I have no idea who this girl is. Jennifer Gardner, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember what her name is. She's very pretty, though. You can see Taurians are actually very big on their hair. I do recall Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson actually has a tattoo of a bull on his shoulder, I think. And I remember that from when I was a kid. But either way, a lot of Taurians are generally very wealthy, so it makes total sense that we have actors and actresses here. They also have the same thing that Aries do with the big head, so you can actually guess Aries and Taurus based on their head structure if they have that big head, especially the jaw, the mouth. You can see here she's got very, very luscious big lips. This is a Venetian trait, of course. Even the bull nose, if you look at the rock here, actually this is why I chose this picture. You can see from the underside, it looks like he has a bull's nose. Very important. You can also tell by ears. The neck is going to be super thick in a lot of the males, as well as a stocky figure. And the females are actually going to have very... what's the best way to say this? I guess voluptuous bodies. A lot of the time, they're very earthly. They're very down to earth. A lot of them have nice hourglass figures, if you want to think of it that way. Esoterically, the bull really represents the slaughter. A lot of the time, you'll find bullfighting or Mithras slaying the bull. This is because when we came out of Noah's or Gilgamesh's flood about 6,000 or so years ago, the sign that was coming up over the horizon was the bull, so we had a lot of bull worship. If you go to the Egyptians, they worshipped the bull Apis, and there's just a ton of other references, like in the Nordic mythologies of Ymir the Frost Giant being licked by a bull, and then in the Nordic stories, there's basically one of their creation myths is about a bull licking an ice giant until it melted into the Milky Way galaxy. And if you go and you turn to the Hindus, Brahman takes an aspect of a bull and milks the Milky Way galaxy into existence. All of these are in reference to Taurus. So Taurus is actually a sign, especially in our most recent history, which is associated with creation. It's associated with giving the milk of substance in order to survive. So this is why I think it has been placated as such an important and integral sign in a lot of ways. But again, Taurus can also be quite evil. But conquering and slaying the bull, above Taurus is Perseus. Perseus is the constellation which references man, which is why we also have Orion fighting the bull. Conquering the earth, conquering our lower desires. The bull itself represents the cerebellum, the bull. It's the lower mind. So Taurus is a very interesting sign just in and of itself, just by that. But it's literally conquering the amygdala, the cerebellum, all these lower aspects of our brain, of our creation, the pituitary gland, all of these things. So very, very interesting, but ultimately Taurus is a very, very powerful, important sign. From my experience, it's been probably the most rare sign that I've ever found. And a lot of the time, Taurians can either be very quiet or they can talk quite a lot, like I do. And my moon is in Taurus, so I know a little bit of what I'm talking about here. So a lot of the time, May is associated with Taurus. April, as in Aries, A. May, as in me, as in I am. Taurians are associated very heavily with the aspect of God. Not like Taurians are better than anybody else. It's definitely not what I'm saying, because I've met some horrible Tauruses. But Taurus field, as another example, toroidal field. That's actually where we get the word Taurus field. I am, may, me, my. So these are all aspects of understanding yourself from a lower perspective in order to heighten to a higher perspective. So Tauruses are very interesting signs in that regard. That's going to be my little spiel on Taurus.